Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. It's October 1st, and we're drawing a tiger. And I'm testing this new, it's not new, it's super old, this other microphone to see if my audio can be better. I'm sorry for the other videos where the music was playing and you could barely hear me. So anyways, I wanted to tackle this tiger because I thought the photo was really cool, and then I realized, wow, this is really tough to draw. And what I winded up realizing was the stuff that I usually look at, like masses, they were completely, and by masses it was like the shapes of the nose, what do you call it, muzzle, the brow of the tiger, his ear, the open mouth was a little bit not a little bit, very challenging. But it's also cool stuff that I kind of figured out. And what I want to do is show you in this video, hopefully I can time it with this audio, a separate drawing that I did in Photoshop that shows the different masses and how we should really look at this. On the first approach, maybe leaving stripes and those kinds of things for the end once we've established the actual body of the head, all of the different planes of the head. So in this video you see me suffering with and erasing a lot, and I erased a ton in this video, trying to get the angles right. The tiger's head is slightly tilted, so things that would, I guess, be horizontal, like his front teeth, you see they're at an angle, maybe they're at a 10-degree angle. So trying to get that to match the pupils in his eyes and certain other things that might be horizontal. Just trying to follow the landmarks that maybe you've noticed that I've talked about in the other videos. Really difficult, but still fun. And the end result to me, which is in the thumbnail, came out pretty clear. You know, it was a good enough study for me. So here I'm working on that. Okay, I forgot what I was talking about. So I'm gonna name the parts of the tiger's head and face the way I guess our human faces would be. So obviously I've sped the video up a bit because it's just such a long video, and it was quite a struggle to get everything to work. But yeah, I think figuring out that jawline, the lower jaw, where it connects with the upper jaw. So basically the back cheek. If we're going to call the two areas next to his nose his, I guess, upper lips, since I guess they move over his teeth. If that's a point of attention, like where we should define a mass, then I would just say that the space behind it in this drawing to the right, in the photo to the right, and to the left, obviously, further back behind his nose and lips, I would say that those are two areas to define. And they're tricky because, yeah, they connect. You know, if we look at the inside of his mouth, that's his throat, right above his tongue. And so that's a pivot point if we were looking at this sideways, because that throat, that pathway goes down his neck and into his stomach and lungs and that kind of thing. So that was an important part to sort of figure out where his throat sits at the back of the roof of his mouth, and where all of it sits inside the head with the jaw open like this. So we all have that in common, where only our lower jaw actually pivots and opens. When we open our mouth, it's our lower jaw that's going down. We might throw our head back a little bit, but it's really just our lower jaw that opens. So that's why if the tiger's mouth is open even a little, just a little bit, quite frankly, if it's still looking down its nose, it would still, like, the front teeth, the two top teeth the fangs would be in that same spot. Anyway, so yeah, I had a tough time with all the markings. If you look more closely at this photo reference, you can see basically scrunched up muscle on the top of his nose, under his eye, and that's all the result of, I guess, the strain of opening his mouth that wide. And, we can kind of crunch up our nose and see the same kind of thing on our brow and even on our nose. But all of those things, taking into account the muscles on his nose, all those wrinkles, those lines, and the stripes and the dots on where his whiskers are, it was definitely hard to sort of just jump into the drawing without really studying it firsthand. I guess I have to adjust this video. It looks like the photo, I'm going to reduce the size of the photo as I see it in this edit so that we can see the drawing part more clearly. Looks like I was drawing too far to the middle of this video, of the camera. So yeah, the eyes gave me a ton of trouble because I realized I started off drawing them not close enough, and also the pupils are really at the furthest, most bottom point of the eye. So there's no space beneath the pupil. There's no visible iris beneath the pupil in this photo. It's the bottom. The pupil is basically resting on the lower eyelid, and then at this angle, it was definitely a challenge. I kind of dove in a little bit too quickly, trying to establish some of the stripes. I am using everything as like little landmarks, but I don't think it was very successful to go at it this way, because the stripes, even as cool as they look, and they're very, some of the striping coming off the side of his eyes kind of helped to accentuate this extreme angle, because they're coming off the corner of his eye. It's almost as like makeup. It's very, very interesting how intentional the striping is, and how it follows the planes too. So I never really looked this hard at placement for some of that stuff, and all of the little markings really help to exaggerate this moment, with the wide eyes, all of the little stripes and markings that would, I guess cartoonishly we'd picture as a eyebrow. They're all up, they arc. The ones that behind his whiskers, it's just really, really nice patterns to like take a little moment and study. His ears are back. Also, it's just like knowing animals. I have a cat, and I know that when they're very sort of docile, but if their ears are back, they feel threatened. It's a very different mood when a cat has its ears back as opposed to when their ears are forward. And I think that's the case for most animals anyway. I'm not an animal expert. So, but yes, a lot of interesting details inside the mouth. I don't know, I was fascinated by that part. And all the muscle outside of the actual teeth. And just being very like sort of respectful for where, just defining where the throat was, and how the tongue is basically a muscle that's coming out of the throat and forward into the mouth. And then how the tongue also occupies a space in the lower jaw, just sort of like the thicker muscles, I guess, make it squeeze in the middle up top, and then it flattens out and is much thinner. So there's a really cool taper. I'm not even looking at my drawing at this point because I drew this prior. I'm looking at the photo. I'm describing the photo more so where I'm at this point with the drawing. Yeah, like I said, the eyes were giving me a lot of trouble. I think I resolved them. Like at the end of this, you'll see that I got a pretty nice likeness of it. I was over focusing on too many little details. Like right there, it looks like I'm trying to just get that reflection right. I'm like, you don't do that at the beginning of a drawing. And this is the beginning of this drawing. So, and I was thinking maybe I should try to do this in ZBrush, a 3D modeling. I'm sure everyone knows what that is, but ZBrush is a 3D modeling software, and I happen to know how to use it. And I thought my channel's approach would just be drawing, but this is also, we're creating stuff, so why not? Why not occasionally have some 3D the same way we would paint? Or even sculpt with clay. So, yeah, this is where I'm really focusing on all those little ridges over his nose. Trying to define areas. Like I try to do a bit too much with the pencil, quite frankly. Someone else would leave this and maybe start inking, and there I am, just like erasing over and over and over again. And for anyone curious, I'm not drawing on fancy paper. This is copy paper. I happen to like the texture. It's smoothed with the mechanical pencil. All of my drawings have been on copy paper. Bristol is obviously the ideal, but I always expect to completely screw these up. So I think one day that I have something really mastered, like I'll use the Bristol, or when I'm using ink or watercolor. So now is when I'm probably trying to define that jaw, the wider part of the jaw. I think if anyone were to open their mouth this wide in a mirror, they would see how their lower jaw opening that way takes a very, very different shape than how it is when it's resting, and it's wide like this. Not as wide as a tiger, but it's a wide point. We normally see a mouth and a smile sort of like from a front view or a side view, but this is that angle of opening it, pivoting it open like that is a very different shape. So you'd see a lot of similarity in this, not the teeth shape, but the jaw shape. Right now the video I'm looking at is way off center, and I have to figure that out. I want to be able to show you guys all this stuff, but I'm trying to do too much. I'm trying to find shapes, and I'm trying to define details all at the same time. So I know this might drive some people crazy. It's certainly driving me crazy watching it after I've drawn it. It's yeah, I guess I wouldn't recommend people trying this way, and I definitely have chosen a more difficult path here. Thanks to everybody that left really nice comments and gave me some tips. Really appreciate that. I didn't realize in my last video that it was so long. It was like an hour, I think. I didn't realize that my the music was basically louder than my voice, and I don't know. I'll try to include some text here too, so you guys don't have to listen to my annoying voice and my music choices if you don't want to, but still hear, I guess, the content stuff I'm talking about. I really did like this photo a lot. I thought it was fantastic. And I'm just trying to do it justice here. That area that I'm penciling now is just a very dark, it's like an area that's in shadow. So, and if you look deep enough into the mouth, you see like there's so many like little, it's a giant pocket of shadow, and then it's got little subtle highlights, and then you can kind of sculpt in all the big shapes. Yeah, it's just real nice. And then there's just like walls and inner walls, like where the back lower molars, like the lower jaw where it connects with the flesh, connects with the top jaw, creates its own little wall. And then there's the lips, the inner lip, the outer black lip, and then the furs. Like so much going on in these photos. It's great. Super challenging. All right, I have to continue this audio later.